Hello, my dear listeners. Welcome back to Dear Listeners. Today's story is a quiet one, not dramatic, not loud, just real. The kind of story that slowly sits in your heart while you listen to it. Because somewhere, I think all of us have experienced this that strange feeling of missing someone who is still alive, still there, but no longer close the way they used to be. There was a time when Arav and Kabir spoke every single day, not because they had important things to discuss, but because talking to each other felt natural, easy. Sometimes they talked about serious things, career, money, family pressure, and sometimes they spent one whole hour discussing absolutely nothing. Random jokes, old memories, cricket matches, tea stalls, maybe. And honestly, those conversations became a part of life, the kind of thing you assume will always stay. They met during college, and from the beginning, they just clicked. Same humor, same energy, the kind of friendship where one person starts a sentence and the other already knows how it ends. Kabir was louder, more expressive, he laughed easily. Arav was calmer, more practical, but somehow they balanced each other. During college, life felt simple. Not easy, but simple. They had dreams, big ones. They used to sit late at night and talk about the future. Once we start earning, life will finally feel sorted. And back then, they really believed that. But life after college turned out to be very different from what they imagined. Arav got a corporate job. At first, he was excited, a new office, a salary, a feeling that life was finally moving forward. But slowly, the excitement turned into exhaustion. Long working hours, constant pressure, emails that never ended, a mind that was always occupied. Kabir's life also changed, but differently. Things at home became difficult. His father's business started struggling. Money became tight. And suddenly he had responsibilities he wasn't prepared for. Now, here's the thing, neither of them stopped caring about the friendship. That's important because people often think distance means lack of love. But sometimes distance simply means life became heavy. At first, they still tried, late night calls continued, messages continued, and in those moments, they still felt close. But slowly, calls became shorter. One day, Arif got too tired after work and thought, I'll call tomorrow. The next day, Kabir got busy with family issues and thought, I'll reply later. And without realizing it, tomorrow and later slowly became permanent. Weeks passed, then months. Earlier, they used to share everything immediately. Now they only spoke when something important happened. And that changes relationships quietly. Because closeness is not built only on big conversations, it is built on small ones. The random updates, the unnecessary calls, the what are you doing messages. When those disappear, distance slowly enters. One evening, Arav came home completely exhausted. He dropped his bag near the sofa and just sat there silently. The house was quiet, but his mind wasn't. He picked up his phone and started scrolling aimlessly. And suddenly, he came across an old picture. It was him and Kabir sitting at a roadside tea stall during college days, laughing so hard that the picture was slightly blurred. For a moment, he smiled automatically, and then something hit him. A strange sadness, not because anything terrible had happened, but because he suddenly realized how much had changed. When was the last time we actually talked? He thought. Not texted, not reacted to stories, but properly talked. He tried to remember, and honestly, he couldn't. That realization stayed with him longer than he expected. Because some people become such a natural part of your life that you never imagine a day when they'll feel distant. That night, he opened Kabir's chat, typed something, deleted it, typed again, and deleted it again. Because suddenly, after months of silence, even a simple how are you felt awkward. And isn't that strange? How someone who once knew every detail about your life slowly becomes someone you hesitate to message. So he closed the phone and told himself, I'll talk someday. But someday is dangerous because someday often never comes. Days passed again, life continued, work continued, stress continued, until one night his phone vibrated. A message from Kabir. Dad is in the hospital. That was it. One sentence. And suddenly, all the distance disappeared for a moment. Arif called him immediately. No hesitation this time. Kabir picked up after a few seconds, but for a moment, neither of them spoke. Because sometimes silence also carries emotions. Then Kabir finally said softly, I didn't know who else to call. And honestly, that sentence broke something inside Arav. Because despite months of distance, despite all the silence, when life became difficult, Kabir still thought of him first. That night, they spoke for hours, longer than they had spoken in years. Not just about the hospital, about life, about pressure, about feeling tired all the time. At one point, Kabir laughed quietly and said, there were so many times I wanted to call you. Arav smiled and replied, same. And both of them realized something painful in that moment. Neither of them wanted the friendship to fade. They had just stopped making space for it. And maybe that's what adulthood does, not intentionally, not cruelly. It just fills life with so much responsibility that relationships slowly survive on memories instead of presence. After that night, things didn't magically become perfect. Life was still busy, problems were still there, but something changed. Now they tried, not perfectly, but intentionally. A random voice note, a late night call while driving home, tea once a month, small efforts but honest ones. And slowly, the friendship stopped feeling distant again. Because relationships don't disappear in one day, and sometimes they can return slowly too, as long as someone decides to begin. And maybe that's the real lesson of this story. People don't always leave loudly. Sometimes they fade quietly from your daily life. And if we don't pay attention, one day we realize we miss someone we thought would always be there. Now tell me, dear listeners, is there someone you used to talk to every day but don't anymore? Have you also delayed a conversation for too long? And maybe after listening to this story, is there someone you should call today? If this story touched your heart, share your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more such emotional stories, just write more stories. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Dear Listeners. I'll meet you again with another story. Till then, don't let silence replace conversations too quietly.